Frack on, mother frackers. We're back. We are here to talk about anime. And more importantly, live action anime. And more importantly than that, why is Netflix doubling down on anime? So CJ, let's talk about this because again, everything for CJ and I goes back to film school. Take a shot. I remember one of the first questions you asked me was like, "Do you like anime?" I'm like, "What is anime?" And you referenced like all these shows. Well, I watched Dragon Ball. I watched this. I watched Ranma one half. I watched Saint Seiya, or as I knew back then, Night of the Zodiac. So I'm like, and you go, "Yeah, you're an anime fan, so you know anime." So that's kind of what like another thing that solidified our friendship was comic books and then anime. And we've been talking recently offline. Where like the live action adaptation of Night of the Zodiac came out, the live action Cowboy Bebop. And my question to you is this, CJ.
What is up with? Sorry, I'm cutting you off there. My bad. But yeah, what is up with Netflix and these live action anime adaptations was really kind of the gist of the question, right?
And not even that just live action, but like anime in general. Like there was a CGI version of Night of the Zodiac of Saint Seiya, which was a truncated version of the original manga of the original series. I'm like, what is the point of this? Why are you doing this? Why does this exist? So I'm like,
here's where my thoughts are, right? And I think it's anime centric, right? Like it's but my thoughts are bigger than that. My thoughts are this is studios, this is people looking like trying to look forward a little bit in that what is it, trying to get on the trend. What is the next big thing, right? Comic books, movies have been this big thing for the last like 10 years since the MCU was a thing and Disney bought it, and Disney knows how to market everything and put everything in your eyes in front of you everywhere and put Marvel everywhere. You know what I mean? Like it made like superhero movies like this crazy thing. Now we're getting to a point where people more and more are writing more articles. Is superhero fatigue a thing? Is superhero fatigue a thing? Blah 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 blah. However you feel about that, I think this is a response to that. I think there's several different factors playing into this. I think they're trying to get on the other side of what's the next big superhero style craze for movies or for entertainment. Number one. Number two, how do we stay relevant as a streaming platform, right? Like, and for them, like, I think this is a gamble towards that, right? Like, how do we stay relevant? Well, what's the next big thing? Maybe anime stuff is going to take off. So here's that, right? I think the other avenue of that is all the video game properties that we're seeing right now.
Yep.
I think that's the other avenue, and I don't see Netflix getting their hand into that, but I think that's because they're putting their full basket into like this anime live action thing. You know what I mean? Because I don't see any video game stuff, although they did have the very popular Castlevania anime.
But there you go again, anime.
Like, again, but it blends genres because it's an anime and it's a video game. But yeah, like, so I think it's very interesting. They did the Cowboy Bebop, and I still, it came out at a interesting time for me, so I didn't finish it. And I still do want to go back and finish it, but I've heard like atrocious things about the Cowboy Bebop anime. But I do want to finish it because I want to give it my own thoughts or whatever. And then there's the Saint Seiya that just came out. So I'm actually interested in stuff more of this generation, right? There's a couple of anime adaptations that came out a few years ago. I wasn't super interested in those. There was like a Bleach, there was a Full Metal Alchemist, you know what I mean? Like there was like a couple of other things, but I wasn't super interested in those. I'm interested in Saint Seiya and Forward. Right. I'm interested in what we get now. Well, I guess I could go back a little bit and say Cowboy Bebop and Forward. This new sort of era of Americanized live action anime, I guess you could say. Yeah, I'm super interested in seeing what direction we go with this. What with today's mindset of how we reverence prior material and source material. Like, what does that look like? You know what I mean? I do think anime is an interesting type of property to broach because it's typically entertainment that's made in a different country, which has a different mindset, and that doesn't always translate well to Western audiences. So I do think it's interesting. Like I feel like we'll get more takes on things than we'll get like the proper excuse me, then we'll get like more faithful adaptations of things. Um in that case, like so I get torn on what I would want to see, right? Like we're getting One Piece in about a month. One Piece isn't necessarily something that I wanted because of how anime it is and how cartoony it is.
Right.
So it's like I would prefer them to do things that were more that aren't like that'll be the temptation, right? Once this kicks off, it'll be who's the first that can get to Dragon Ball, who's the first that can get to Naruto, who's the first that can get to Bleach or something, these big ones. My thoughts on this is like I'd like to see the more in the sea of superhero movies, the American, what was that, not American History X, History of Violence, the history of
Yeah.
violence of anime movies, right? Like that's what I'm like, show me a smaller property that's not as popular, but like it's a really cool thing, you know what I mean? Like, and you can kind of like open people's eyes to that, you know what I mean? Like I think that would be really cool. I'd like to see some stuff like that, you know what I mean? Like, and when you do stuff like that, you can really kind of make it your own because they have smaller fan bases, or at least they're not going to yell at you on the internet, you know what I mean? About you ruining their favorite thing, you know what I mean? Like, but I mean, I would like to see some stuff like that, or different takes on different things, like that. Like, I don't know. Like, I guess I've been jaw jacking for a minute here, right? Like, and I've been talking about like what I wouldn't like to see. But what is some stuff out of this that you would like to see? We'll leave it there
What
for a sec.
I would like to see. That's a great question because I've been burned by American productions of anime. It's and it starts with Dragon Ball. Like that was the first big. I'm like, you guys messed up badly. Um, it's like so like it is that there's that bitter taste in my mouth still from like, dude, you guys don't know how to do it. Knights of the Zodiac Saint Seiya was a better attempt, but still though there was like it was the most faithful. Like I've said in the Spanish version, I said in the past. I think I told you offline too. It was like it's the most faithful. I just wanted to be faithful to the source material. What I don't want, here's what I do want. I want an original story. If you're gonna touch this, I want an original story. I don't want you to take the episodes and reshoot it shot for shot, live action. Be original. Be faithful to the show, to the spirit, to the characters, to the mythology of the anime, but come up with something original. Like that's something that I hate about one of the Power Ranger seasons was like it was a copy and paste of the Japanese show. So I'm like, so why am I watching this? Why is it's like I'm like, no. If you're gonna take this, you have the rights. You have to make an original content. Yes, use the costumes. Yes, use the footage, but do an original show. That's what I don't like. I mean, and even the American Office. At first, I was turned off by the first episode. I'm like, this is the remake of the first show, first episode. But then they went their own way. I'm like, okay, cool, I get it now. So that's my thing. I just want something faithful to the source material, but original at the same time. I want an original story with those accoutrements, for lack of a better, I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I think when you said The Office, I think that's probably the best example. But only if the material allows for that, right?
Exactly.
Like, I think something like Cowboy Bebop, the material allows for an adaptation like The Office, right? Like here you can just, because Cowboy Bebop, it only has a couple of story episodes in it, you know what I mean? Other than that, it's just like this is a slice of life in 2052 or whatever. I don't know what year Cowboy Bebop is supposed to be it takes place in, but this is a slice of life. Other than that, it's just like episodic. They're just on adventures. Once you know the characters, the show, kind of a thing. You know what I mean? Like, so I could dig it with something like that. However, then I think about like, what if they made it like a live action adaptation of Trigun? I would want them to follow the story more closely then. You know what I mean? Like, and maybe not, I don't like, I don't want word for word anime. I don't want the anime word for word. You know what I mean? Like, I'm with you. I want them to kind of doctor it a bit. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like, You know, if you're giving me live action Trigun, like I kind of want Trigun though. You know what I mean? Like, and specifically speaking, I would like to see a live action Trigun. To be honest, like
All right, let's
actually,
talk about. So let's do some fact casting. Who would you cast as Pastor Stampede?
yeah, my gosh, it would be hard for me to, it would be hard for me to get over it not being Johnny Young Bosch. Like I know that like much. It would be hard
That's,
for me to get over that. But
that's all. That's all I see in my head. That's all I hear in my ears. That's all I see in my eyes.
exactly because he's Vash the Stampede, right? Like because he's Vash the Stampede.
This world
But
made up.
This land is made of love and peace. Love and peace. Love and peace. Love and peace.
now we're saying this right now, and I'm sure this is blasphemy to to
There's
the people
Japanese.
next week. Right?
That's okay. Something I want to talk about too before a little divergence, a little divide in the. I grew up with anime in Mexico. I didn't know it was called anime till like recently. So I'm like, I've always been a dub guy.
Mhm.
I'm like, and when I anime, I'm like, okay, oh, I guess I always learned it with localized. So I'm like, how do you feel about people being like, it can only be watched in the original version with subs? Me personally, I'm not a fan of those people, and I do not talk to those people, even if they're related to me.
Listen, that's so that's only funny because I know exactly what you're talking about. But I look, I'll just say this: like sometimes people are way too passionate about certain things. You know what I mean? Like and like I'm a geek, so I get caught up in my own fandom too. I get it. And sometimes you're really passionate about a thing that you are passionate about. You know what I mean? And like you like anime, you like it a certain way. You know what I mean? Like you prefer it that way. Maybe you think that's the only way it ought to be preferred. You know what I mean? It ought to be digested. You know what I mean? Like, and that's cool, buddy. You know what I mean? If that's how you feel, that's cool. Maybe you feel like only other people should watch that too. That's cool too. Um, I mean, like I could just only speak for myself on the matter. Like I like you said, like you grew up watching dubbed, and I'm not opposed to watching. I have watched subtitled anime and like do from time to time watch subtitle anime. It's just a thing. It's just a thing with how I like to enjoy content, right? How I like to digest content. Like I like to be able to watch something and do something else. For instance, right? Like I can't watch a foreign movie that is subtitled and do something else. I have to read it, like I have to because I don't understand the language. You know what I mean? Like so, freaking, I have to read it. So I prefer to watch stuff. So like that's why, or I can hear it if I miss something. You know what I mean? Like so, that's why I watch dub stuff. Sometimes maybe the voice acting is better in Japanese, and maybe I miss out on that. Whatever, whatever. But it's cool. That's how I feel about that. Like, because the reality of the matter is like whether you're reading it, like it's localized. You know what I mean? That's the point. It's localized. So whether you're reading it, whether you're hearing it, like it, you're reading or hearing in an interpretation of what was originally being said because it doesn't. Japanese doesn't translate 1-to-1 to English. You know what I mean? Like, so whatever, like the literal translation would be uncomprehendable. You know what I mean? So whoever is like taking this over, whether they're like translating it, transcribing it, or what I mean, making a script and then recording it, like regardless, you're losing something of the original meaning,
Yeah.
like unless you speak fluent Japanese. You know what I mean? Like, which I do not currently.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that too. Yet.
Yeah, right. Maybe one day. I know a phrase or two.
Bakado.
Nani? No, just kidding.
Did you say Nani?
Yeah. But I mean, at this point, we're just kind of rambling about anime. But you were saying like, yeah, I'd like to see Trigun. I can't think of a cast member right now. I was really trying to think of like some yeah. I wouldn't
Yeah.
go Japanese casting. I would go like big white guy because Vash is a big white guy. Like
Is he though? Because like
he's a genetically engineered thing. Like him and
here's the
his
thing
brother.
though, like something that I saw was like if a character is supposed to be in anime, supposed to be American, you'll know. And they usually have a cowboy or a handkerchief with the American flag.
I feel that, right? Like I feel you on that, but I do think that sometimes in anime when they're like creating these characters, they are creating them with a diversity of humanity
Okay.
in mind, like as they're getting it. But like no, I do get that like a lot of characters who look like white like are they're Japanese. That's just the style. You know what I mean? Like I do get
Sailor
that.
Moon, like for the longest time, I'm like, you're Japanese?
Right. You know what I mean? Like, but at the same time, like, you know, I don't know. Some characters I do think like are like a multicultural, and maybe you're right. Maybe Vash is meant to be Japanese. I've never to me his story, you know, his background.
Right.
To me, that leans itself into like it makes me think Aryan just because he's whatever, you know what I mean? He's just
Yeah, he
meant to
is.
be this kind of like perfect being on some level, you know
Mhm.
what I mean? Like this thing, you know what I mean? This kind of a engineered being, you know what I mean? Like, and so, but you know, maybe it's Japanese. I don't know. Freaking,
That would be cool. I need to watch the new Trigun on Crunchyroll.
I did start it. It's not as offensive as I thought it was going to be to me. I'll say that. I'll admit that much. I thought I would just hate every piece of it. I don't hate every piece of it.
Yet.
But that's as much as I'll say for now. I don't hate every piece of it.
You don't hate every piece of it yet.
Right.
Yet.
Right. I'm only a couple episodes in. So
Okay, so back to our Netflix thing. So are we saying that Netflix is trying to jump into the next big franchise with anime, doing live action? Is that what?
I mean, that's my theory on why this is happening. Like you were talking about, we're seeing all this thing. My theory is, yeah, like Netflix is trying to hang into the streaming wars, into this thing right now, and this is their gamble. This is their thing that they're throwing out on the table. Okay, well, hey, you know, we got anime stuff, we got cartoon live action adaptations. You know what I mean? Like, because we're still getting the Avatar series from them.
Oh, that's right. Because that's weird to me too. That there's two live action avatars, like the Netflix one and the one by the creators.
No, they're doing more cartoons.
Is it okay? Are you sure? Because I thought it was. I think you know what? I'll take your word for it because I don't.
They're doing because it's like they created like a studio or something. I want to say like this is like it was like a big thing, but it was like I don't know, maybe a year ago or whatever. like an announcement of like, yeah, the creators of the original, like basically because they're doing a movie, which is like a sequel to the original show, a cartoon movie, an animated movie. And I can only imagine that after that, maybe we'll get a new show or something. But they created like basically like a studio or something, like to work on Avatar stuff. You know what I mean? So,
Oh, that's right. Yeah, because that's what I was thinking too. I'm like, okay, all right.
but I'm sure that'll all be on Paramount Plus.
Yeah. Strike or we strike.
Right. Well, after and after all this, and after all this.
Final comments, final thoughts.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I guess my thoughts would. How do you think this is going to turn out? Do you think anime has the power to catch? On a massive scale. You know what I mean? On a scale of something like a Spider-Man.
I think we're close to it. I think we've become very, very close. I think we're very close to breaking anime mainstream. And I've seen it twice with two franchises. Knights of the Zodiac and Dragon Ball. Like those are the two biggest franchises that I know of. For some reason, Knights of the Zodiac didn't get here at the right time. Because it was huge everywhere else. But Dragon Ball, I've seen Dragon Ball. I remember the first time I saw someone wearing a Super Saiyan shirt. I'm like, dude, where'd you get that shirt? And what is that called in English? Because I'd never seen it here. I only seen it in Spanish. So I'm like, how do you say Super Saiyajin? And they're like, Super Saiyan. I'm like, okay. But they understood what I was saying about. I'm like, how do you say?
I know.
Right, exactly. I'm like, I'm like, okay. So I think we're on the tip. We're on the edge of anime becoming mainstream. Like we've come close with Teen Titans, the cartoon from the. I was like, because that was huge too. So I'm
and
like,
a lot of modern animation is, has a lot of that heavy anime inspired kind of aspect to it. But I think what you're saying has weight because, you know what I mean? Spider-Man is one of the staples of comic bookdom. Superman is one of the staples of comic bookdom. Like when their movies do well, it's kind of like a testament to comic book movies as a whole, right? Like, so I think for anime to truly be mainstream, I think they have to nail Dragon Ball, and I think that Dragon Ball is the one that has the power. Like, I think if they truly nail a Dragon Ball movie, I think the Dragon Ball fans will come out for it, and I think, I mean, if they nail the marketing, like Dragon Ball could put anime, a good Dragon Ball adaptation could bring anime like mainstream America. You know what I mean? Like, I think Dragon Ball has the power. It's like, it's just like understandable enough, right? Like, it's just like palpable enough, like to like just hook you into it, right? You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that hard, hard to grasp. Like most of it is fighting anyway, like it's like, but it's the big one though. You know what I mean? Dragon Ball is the big one. Like if they can nail Dragon Ball, like I think Dragon Ball is the one that has. Dragon Ball might be the only one that has the power to though bring it mainstream.
Yeah, I think Dragon Ball is the one because Dragon Ball, as much as I love Saint Seiya and the Zodiac, it's still it's very kind of like on the Greek gods constellations, whereas Dragon Ball just a very simple like these kids with the monkey tail, which the live action version didn't have, which pissed me off. I'm like, where's this tail?
Think about it. It's Superman, right?
Yeah,
we know Superman. We know Superman. We see Superman story. This is Superman. Like, like you know what I mean? Like you've seen Superman. This is Superman, but like he's kind of a monkey like thing. You know what I mean? Like freaking, like
maybe suggesting Hollywood when the strike's over, hit us up. But maybe go to Dragon Ball Z. Dragon Ball happened. Go to Dragon Ball Z.
Listen. Because there's plenty, but yeah, and I don't know. That's my thoughts on at least mainstreaming it. You know what I mean? Like until then, like I'm still keen to see some of these smaller projects that they're doing or some of this stuff. Like like I want more. I didn't want. I don't know how One Piece is gonna be. It looks cool from right now. Like the trailer I saw, like as a One Piece, it looks cool. But One Piece isn't what I wanted. I wanted something else. And I'm still interested in the something else's that we may get because of what we're getting now. You know what I mean? Like whatever's gonna kind of shake out of the I don't have a good analogy. whatever's coming through the pipeline, you know what I mean, next as far as little anime like, series adaptations, you know what I mean? I'm kind of all for it as long as if it's interesting enough, you know what I mean? Like and I would like to see what they can do with some interesting little story. Like nothing can come to mind right now. Like I would love to see a live action Ranma 1/2. Like you're a big fan of that. Like
dude, yes,
I'd love to see that. You know what I mean? Like like that's such a quirky and interesting idea and show. You know what I mean? Like
again, an anime I saw. Yeah, one I saw in Mexico too. I'm like, dude, I would love to see Ranma 1/2 live action. That'd be great. But they better do it right though, not like Shazam.
Right, where they actually like the actors actually
act like each other, like the same character.
They actually act like they know each other,
No, like there's the same character. You mean because like
yeah.
But dude, Ranma 1/2 live action would be, oh my god, that would be great. That is the easy one to tell. Yeah, Ranma 1/2 live action would be the one to go to. That is the easy one to do.
Because I think the temptation is to go big, right? You know, temptation is to go big, but it's like there's a lot of quirky little gems, you know what I mean, that you could just kind of go for. You don't have to go big
Like,
to like, you know.
I forgot there was a live action Death Note American movie too, and I didn't see
Right.
it, but I heard
There
it was not good either though. But again, I don't know.
I was never a big Death Note fan, so I didn't really get into it, but
But yeah,
I
just
did.
like you're right, they're doubling down, and I think you're right. I think anime is when you see. I mean, yeah, anime is the next big like superhero property, and they're trying to get ahead of it. And I think that's a smart move on them, but they have to get it right. And so far, no one's gotten
Well,
it right. People have come close.
see, my thing is, I'm not of the mind yet to give it to them as this is a smart move because we don't know yet. Like, if Hollywood, that's the thing. Like, if next year WB drops a huge, I'm just trying to spitball and think of freaking Gundam movie, and it's a winner, you know what I mean, and it hits and it's a seller, then yes, Netflix, this was smart, right? You know what I mean? Because the thing is I don't think Netflix alone has the power to make this a thing. I think they're betting on it being a thing, but I don't think they alone have the power to make this a thing. I think I think they're trying to catch a trend before it starts. You know what I mean? Like, but it requires the trend to start for this to be successful, though. You know what I mean? I feel like.
Um, I hear you because they've been. I remember. I think we talked about this too. There was a Variety article back in like 2007, 2008, where they
Mhm.
were talking about doing a live action Voltron movie, and it was like parts of it were in Mexico, parts of it were in the States, and these kids had to work together to bring it back to make it work or whatever. And like it sounded
Yeah,
awesome, but like I haven't heard anything from it since then. Like it's been in the works for a minute, dude. Like doing live action anime. Well, we've seen it with Dragon Ball, but like I think no one's done it right. Like I said, I think like Knights of the Deck was very close, but I think it's just the educating people. Like I think there's a drawback too. Is like you have to educate people. Be like this is from a Japanese property, and that's why it hasn't taken off yet. It's like too like well in Japan, you gotta here's a little quick study guide of what you need to know before you go see this movie.
Right, right, right. You
Well, I
need, you
think
also need to be accessible, and and that's where I think what you were kind of saying earlier kind of comes into play with it being a take versus like a word for word adaptation. You know what I mean?
mm,
With it being a take, I don't know. You can leave a lot on the table. Of course, the trade off is you might piss off some fans. You know what I mean? Like but that's kind of what you're playing with here.
no yeah I think yeah I think as I said, Knights of Zodiac the live action movie was a good adaptation, a good take. I can see why the fans are mad, but I'm like I I don't know how to explain it to you guys. Like you can't. They'll want a 1-to-1. I'm like you can't do a 1-to-1 in a 2-hour movie. Like that's a insane say, and that's a Zodiac. That's a introduction of all the main characters. Like we don't have time for that in this movie. Like we gotta get going. We gotta save the prince. We gotta save Athena. Um,
Yeah.
final comments, final thoughts again.
Yeah. I mean, I guess yeah. I guess the question we asked. I guess that we came with a satisfactory answer for ourselves, at least.
Thanks a
As to
lot,
why,
Netflix.
right? As to why this might be happening, but of course, like again, like I say, who knows? Like, like we were saying way at the beginning of this, you know what I mean? Like, maybe video games is the next big thing, you know what I mean? And maybe
Yeah.
this is just fizzles out, you know what I mean? Like, and it doesn't happen, like, because I see video games as this other trend that somebody's trying to kind of build on, and I don't think they're trying to create a trend. I just think that they see money in something, and they're trying to get money too. You know what I mean? That is what creates the trend. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, oh, this made a lot of money. I want to make a video game thing. Oh, okay. Like, oh, and this made a lot of money. Okay, now everybody's gonna make video game thing. You know what I mean? Like, kind of a thing. Like, anime hasn't had that, right? You know what I mean? And like, but anime needs a good movie to start that. you know, and a good theater movie experience, you know what I mean? Like something that brings people in and makes a lot of money, you know.
Right.
To start that as a trend. And I don't know, you know, I mean, like that's what I was saying. Like, you know, I think Dragon Ball has power to do that because it comes baked in with a lot of fans, you know what I mean? Like it's like anime Star Wars, you know. But there's not a lot of properties I think that could really do that, you know what I mean? Like and rake it in on that level. I don't know, it'd have to be some kind of lightning in a bottle, you know. I mean, there's you know, there's Naruto and stuff like that, but you know, I don't know how accessible that is to, you know, I don't know, whatever. I don't know. I saw Super Mario. Maybe the movie just has to be colorful. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw the movie in '93 and in 2023.
Yeah, the dull version and the colorful version.
Oh God. What was I gonna say? Yeah. Alrighty. Well, thank you, CJ. Thank you for nerding out with me. We're talking about why Netflix is doing what it's doing. We'll see you same freaking time, same freaking channel. Frack off. Or wait, is it this way? Frack off. I don't know anymore.